This is the next castle we come to on the Rhine. It was called the Rheinstein Castle. It was built on the ruins of an earlier Wolfsburg or Watzburg castle. Rheinstein was the first castle actually to be reconstructed on the Rhine, according to the Romanticism. The Hohenzollern Prince Frederick Ludwig of Prussia acquired the castle in 1823 and changed its name to Rheinstein. The original residential tower, dating back to the 13th and 14th century, was characterized by a U-shaped ring wall which opened onto the Rhine. A lot of the castles had inner courtyards. This one actually, due to the steep, rugged cliff, actually opened onto the Rhine. To the south and west, a moat and a strong curtain wall protected the approach from the mountain slope. It was interesting to see this castle on the hill, and that the hill seems to be a slow slope of green trees, and then they have this ragged rock jutting out, and the strong footing for the castle to be built upon. A high wall was constructed to connect the residential tower to the watchtower above the valley. The Watzburg Castle, named after St. Bonifacius, was probably built to lay siege to the Reichenstein Castle, which is the next one, which was later claimed by the Palatinate by Archbishop von Aspelt of Mainz in 1306 or to 1320. The remains of the medieval castle were utilized in the reconstruction in 1825 to 1829. The residential tower was raised to 4 stories, and a terrace was built in front of the residence. In 1842, the prince had an elaborate neo-Gothic chapel built outside the original castle grounds. It's seen there to the left near the construction. A short time later, the Sweizen House, or Swiss House, was built as a hunting lodge and guest house on the historical hill above the castle. This particular castle is privately owned. It is open as a restaurant, cafe, apartment, and museum shop, and there is free parking available. This is the Reichenstein Castle we just talked about. It is one of the oldest castles, one of the most impressive castles we've seen so far. And it was probably built in the 11th century on the behest of Kornilnmuster Arch Abbey near Aachen. In 1218, the abbots chose the von Bohlen family as bailiffs. The von Bohlens would prove to be a fateful decision, as they turned out to be the robber barons of the worst kind. Probably why this castle got to be so big compared to others. Because of their improper customs practices and the robberies actually carried out by the castle's inhabitants, the castle was destroyed by the Reiches Town League in 1253, and then again by King Rudolf van Habsburg in 1282 to put an end to the mischief that was going on. The castle was rebuilt after the area was ceded by the emperor to the Archbishop of Mainz in 1344, and a double ring wall of the main castle structure surrounds a rectangular residential tower and an inner courtyard. In the 15th century, 2 round towers were added on the Rhine side, a gated construction built to the north to secure access to the castle, and the massive sentry wall, which is up to 8 meters thick and 16 meters high, still stands today, along with the partially reconstructed corner towers. In the 16th century, Rheinstein gradually became dilapidated, and it was destroyed in 1689 during the Palatine War of Secession. In 1834, General Franz Wilhelm von Barfuss acquired the ruin and had the gate building converted to a residence. In 1899 to 1902, the castle ruins were turned into a larger residential castle for Nicholas von Kirchpercelli, the owner of the Rheinboll Hütte. In the English New Gothic style. He had it modeled, and whereby the structure and the design of the castle were radically changed to match. Today's Riechenstein Castle is typically an example of an expanded castle inspired by the Rhine's Romanticism. The residential rooms on the upper floor house antique furniture as well as an extensive collection of historic weapons and armor. The chapel, done in the new Neo-Gothic style, contains an altarpiece from 1556 as well as other works of art dating back to the 15th and 16th century. This is a privately owned castle. The castle is open. The museum is open to the public, and there is free parking in the front of the castle.